Following Apple's introduction of the M1 chip, you can now choose between two processors when buying a MacBook Pro, the Apple Silicon or the Intel model. The performance of both is really powerful, and they have their respective advantages and disadvantages. But which one is better, Intel Macs or Apple Silicon? First, please like and subscribe to this channel, and then sit back and relax. Just as the iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch already run on Apple processors, the company is betting on its own Apple Silicon chips in the line of Macs. So is it worth going for Intel's 13-inch MacBook Pro, or does it make more sense to buy a MacBook Pro M1? In this video, we'll help you decide which MacBook Pro model is best for you. MacBook Pro M1 versus Intel. What's the overview? The 13-inch MacBook Pro with M1 technology is the successor to Intel's model and is virtually identical on all but the inside. Both the MacBook Pro M1 and the Intel MacBook, although they look like two completely identical laptops, they have several important differences. Let's check them out here. Difference in screen. Both models have the same 13.3-inch Retina display with a 2560 by 1600 resolution, the same 720p FaceTime HD camera, the same chassis size, and Dolby Atmos compatible speakers. They also come with a touch bar, Touch ID, Magic Keyboard, and a Force Touch trackpad. Difference in processor. Apple's M1 processor is efficient. It has an 8-core CPU with 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. It also comes with an 8-core GPU. In addition, the 16-core neural engine enhances specific machine learning algorithms. On the other hand, the two high-end models of the MacBook Pro 13 continue to use 10th generation Intel Core chips. Both standard configurations use a 2.0 GHz quad-core processor that can be upgraded to a 2.3 GHz quad-core Core i7 processor. All the Intel models have Intel Iris Plus graphics. By comparison, these components are separated on the logic board of the higher-end Intel MacBook Pro, giving the M1 chip many performance advantages. When you're doing simple tasks like browsing the web or reading email, MacBook Pro uses high-efficiency cores to preserve battery life. For more system-intensive tasks like photo and video editing, high-performance cores are used. Compared to high-performance cores, high-efficiency cores use 1/10 the power while still delivering the performance Mac users need for everyday tasks. Camera difference. The MacBook Pro M1 also has a better camera than the Intel version. Although both laptops have a 720p camera, Apple's M1 computers also have the company's image signal processor inside. The MacBook Pro M1's camera has much better lighting, richer color, and noticeably less noise in the image than the Intel MacBook Pro. The difference in memory and storage. Do you need the most storage and memory? Then you can get in an Apple laptop. Just make sure that your best bet is an Intel MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro M1 faces memory and storage limitations, as it can only be configured with up to 16 GB of memory, RAM, and up to 2 TB of storage. Intel models can be upgraded to 32 GB of RAM and up to 4 TB of storage. Most users don't need that much, but they are important for media creators and users who work with huge files and need to run multiple memory-intensive applications. Battery duration difference. Battery life is one of the most important aspects of the MacBook with the Apple chip. Double the battery life of the Intel MacBook Pro 13. The former has a battery life of up to 20 hours, while the latter model promises up to 10 hours between charges. Both figures are from the most optimistic estimate, so you can expect slightly less battery life in actual use. Even so, Apple's M1 chip is much more efficient. The battery size in each model is nearly identical. Longer battery life is due to lower power consumption, not due to higher capacity. Difference in performance. Apple claims that the CPU in the M1 chip is up to 2.8 times faster than the Intel chip in the entry-level MacBook Pro it replaces. GPU speeds are up to 5 times faster than Intel integrated graphics in the previous model. That said, Apple hasn't provided any performance comparisons against existing high-end models of Intel's MacBook Pro. The chip is clocked at 3.2 GHz and gets single-core scores above 1,700. In turn, it gets multi-core scores around 7,500, which makes it faster even than high-end 16-inch MacBook Pro models 2019 that come with 10th generation Intel Core, i7 or i9 chips. So we can say that the M1 chip in the entry-level MacBook Pro offers better single-core performance than any other Mac available and outperforms Intel-powered MacBook Pro models. However, it may not beat all of them in GPU performance. Even by emulating the x86 architecture under Rosetta 2, the MacBook Pro M1 is still faster than all Macs released before. Ports difference. The USB-C ports on the MacBook Pro M1 are Thunderbolt 3 and are also compliant with the USB 4. The important thing to remember is that USB 4 isn't so much a technical advance over existing Thunderbolt 3 ports, as it tries to unify the confusing array of definitions associated with USB 3 and its generational variants. It also represents Intel's transition from a paid licensing scheme for its proprietary Thunderbolt protocol to an open licensing industry standard. Because of this, Apple has been able to develop its own custom Thunderbolt 3 controller for the M1. Like Thunderbolt 3, USB 4 can allocate different levels of bandwidth to video and data transfers, up to 40 GB per second, when required simultaneously. Despite the name change, the difference to the end user is minimal. Difference in design. Other than the port difference, the Apple MacBook Pro M1 and Intel versions appear identical. They're the same size and thickness and offer the same color options, silver or space gray. Although Apple's M1 model is lighter, they also share the same uniform design, the Magic Keyboard and the Touch Bar with Touch ID. Microphone and speakers. Both the MacBook Pro M1 and the Intel feature the same stereo speakers with high dynamic range, wide stereo sound, and support for Dolby Atmos playback. However, the Intel model has a 3-microphone array with directional beamforming. Apple describes the M1 model's microphone array as studio quality with a high signal-to-noise ratio, which could tip the scales in your favor if you make a lot of video calls or use sound recording extensively. Software compatibility difference. When it comes to software compatibility, Apple has made it clear that Mac OS virtualization software will be the only way to run Windows and PC apps on a machine powered by Apple Silicon. Apps designed for iPhone and iPad will run on Apple Silicon natively, which means you'll be able to use many of your favorite iOS apps on the MacBook Pro M1. This will depend on how third-party developers work to include Mac input controls like keyboard and mouse in their iOS apps. It is assumed that most future Catalyst apps will accommodate Mac and touch input. None of the above applies to Intel's MacBook Pro, which only runs x86-64 code for Intel's architecture. Instead, the MacBook Pro M1 can run both iOS and x86-64 software thanks to Apple's Rosetta 2 translation layer. In some cases, applications built with x86-64 run faster on Rosetta 2 than on Intel Macs. It's worth noting that Apple considers Rosetta 2 a temporary solution for developers while they redo their existing Intel-based programs to work on ARM-based Macs, which means they'll eventually have to build native apps for Apple Silicon machines. Our conclusion: the fast performance and long battery life of the MacBook Pro M1 make it the best choice for many people. However, if you need as much storage, ports, and memory as you can get in an Apple laptop, your best bet is an Intel MacBook Pro, and application compatibility remains a key aspect of purchasing one. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, the subscription button, and the notification bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded from this channel. Please share your thoughts about Intel Macs versus Apple Silicon, how Intel Macs better is than Apple Silicon in the comment section below. Thank you.